Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey, good evening everybody. It's Wednesday the 20th, and it is a wonderful day. I hope you all had a great day because I'll be honest, we have two sunshine days that were immaculate and there was no wind. I don't like wind, but that's just blowing offshore and I'm surfing. So for all you guys over there in Hawaii, you guys know all about that, especially the trade winds. But anyway, aside from that, our winds are coming tomorrow. We're going to have some colder weather, and hopefully where I live, it's our last cool off. But anyway, it was a beautiful day today, so enjoy. But listen, hey, the President of the Republic clarified his position on the federal court's decision regarding the salaries of the regional employees. So the federal government talking about decisions, regional government employees. So his name is Abdul Latif Shamal Rashid, and he clarifies his position on this, and which is respectfully to the court's decision. But here's a quote that I'll bring in quickly, is that he explains that drawing up a financial and customs policy, issuing currency, regulating trade policy across the borders of regions and governance in Iraq, and drawing up monetary policy are among the exclusive powers of the Union, which is the federal government. But implementing the policy is determined by what implementation mechanisms that fall within the powers of the region. So he's stating that he's got that on his mind. So ultimately, he's telling the world and the people that this is how it works. I would suggest you guys come into Patreon and our Discord chat room and get all the data on this. Federal Supreme Court confirms that the decision of the Federal Court number 224 and its unified number 269 Federal/2023 related to the salaries of employees of the Kurdistan region aims to protect the public interest and achieve social justice. So they're hot and heavy on this, and of course they need to get ready to what? They're talking about salaries that should be dispersed. Some of that is going to be in cash, they suggest, but ultimately what is it? The President of the Republic is affirming his focus is on implementing the provisions of the Constitution and the legislation. So basically, Al-Rashid was giving his views on this. So you can find this article in our Patreon room, and it is one that sets the stage. These guys are totally ready to facilitate what they're supposed to be doing, and they've had plenty of time to do it. And all of the things that we've been talking about aren't really new. They've been on the plate for a long period of time, especially Article 140. That has to do with people, land, and money. Okay, so it's all good. The President of the Republic stresses the importance of following up on the implementation of Article 140 of the Constitution. So here again, same guy, Rashid. He has affirmed on Tuesday Iraq's willingness and keenness to consolidate ways of cooperation, even with Britain. A statement with the presidency's media office receives the President of the Republic received United Kingdom's Ambassador Stephen Hitchin, stressing that these guys are looking to strengthen relationships with the United Kingdom. A lot of people don't realize that the United Kingdom has a lot of dinar. The United States Treasury has a lot of dinar. And so why are these guys the focus? Think about it. Again, when it comes to the project to delete the zeros, you can rationalize and try to come up with all these different ideas of how that could happen by, deleting the zeros from the notes, for instance. Now, how are you going to do that? You're going to redenominate the currency. Got it. We all know that. Redenomination. But the way to redenominate is to add value. If you don't add any value, redenomination means that those that hold currency don't gain anything. And so I don't think that the United States Treasury, I don't think Great Britain, I don't think Canada, I don't think Australia, I don't think the coalition forces, I don't think the people that came in to build Basmira, which is the South Koreans, came into Iraq to get completely 100% hosed with anything like what you're talking about. And if you think like that, there's no reason to be involved in this investment, because I didn't get into this investment to get that type of treatment. All right, so keep in mind the project to delete the zeros is from the exchange rate, and then once you delete the zeros from the exchange rate, you have effectively a one-to-one situation, not value-wise, but it's $1 and 1 dinar. Then apply a real effective exchange rate. Look it up. There's two different types. There's an NEER, which is a near effective exchange rate, or a nominal, nominal effective exchange rate, and a real effective exchange rate. They're simple searches. All you guys can do it. Please do. But put it to bed, because once you apply a real effective exchange rate, become Article 8 compliant, Article 4 compliant with the IMF, you'll have a valuation of what the country's worth. And that is huge, because to be fair, I don't care if you're going to go anywhere, but when you go across customs and international borders, cross borders, you're going to have customs valuations, and all the products that come and go, they're going to have value. And where are they going to get that extra non-oil money? From the borders. Why? Because when it comes across the borders, it's going to be different. So think about it for a second. So if you tax somebody 10% at 1,310 dinar to $1, so that's 0.0007 da 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 da. So 10% of every dinar is fractions of a dollar, right? Well, of course, move it the other direction, and if you have a dinar that's worth ultimately, let's just call it back to where it was before they shut it down at around 322. So $3.22 for every dinar, and then tax that and see what kind of math it comes up with. You're going to get the picture of that. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about maximizing that amount of money, because what does it do? It actually supports the value of their currency into the future when they go international. That's why they're really focused in on the private sector. All right, enough of that. Just want to make sure that everybody kind of gets it. But it's not surprising that there's a focus on this Article 140, what they talk about. Resettlement, they talk about that. Taif Sami, if you guys know who she is, you should know, if you're invested in the Iraqi dinar, who the finance minister is. Okay? You should know who Al-Sudani is. You should know who the foreign minister is. You should know lots of different things. And these guys are all in the picture. Interestingly enough, the whole Council of Ministers all took office on the same day that Al-Sudani did. I talked about many times the Ministerial Council of Economics is comprised of so many different entities that are all about doing exactly what the globe wants, and what Iraq wants is to integration to the world as far as finance is concerned. You've heard me say it numerous times that their words were that Iraq is going to be the so to speak savior of the international or the monetary financial system, and they probably will be. All boats rise with the tide, to our good friend Petra. He's always coined that here with Militiaman and Crew. Oh, and by the way, everybody, you know, if you haven't subscribed to Patreon, keep in mind, those that do, that are new, you're going to have the ability to come into our Militiaman's chat room in Discord, and our awesome admins, Gigi and Greg, are there. And what you're going to find is a plethora amount of information that comes late at night, my time, from our Super Samson, and it's pretty much every day. And so you're going to be able to have that information, and you're going to be able to have all of this information. And that's why it's wise to, I think at this stage of the game, everybody should know what they own. And if you don't, that's going to be painful, all right? The interesting thing is, if everybody realizes that, Iraq has increased their reserves. They have like 15 months of reserves when it comes to imports. It's pretty massive. They have all of that taken care of. They have an additional 46, 43 tons of gold that they've put into their reserves. So all of those things help with supporting the value of their currency. When we talked about having the value of their currency back in 2016 or 2012, when Dr. Shabibi was still around, he talked about lots of different things. But one of the things that we do know is that value is important. And getting to a market economy, you have to have value. And to have investors coming from all over the world, which you saw today, and we're going to get to that, you would see that the accession aspect of not only the trucking part of that development road project that we've already seen, we have a new accession, and we have an accession law that comes from the government. The government passed it, and what does it do? It helps Iraq have legal ability to have accession to the European Bank Reconstruction for Development, being able to integrate Iraq to international financial companies. So that law sounds to us like, I think I had a good conversation with Petra and Pompey Peter today, that we all agree, whether or not you may, but it looks to be that it's a kind of an umbrella. It's kind of a blanket. In other words, if you have the ability to have accession to an international market like the European Bank I just mentioned, you'll be able to do the same thing with who? The World Trade Organization, right? Well, they did tell you that the World Trade Organization is going to have accession. Iraq will have accession, and it's an imminent issue. Does it need to be tomorrow? Does it need to be next week? Does it need to be done prior to Iraq showing their IMF Article 8 fully compliant exchange rate? Answer, as far as I'm concerned, no, because they need what I just mentioned first. So it's irrelevant if anybody has it wrong or right about the protocols, if you will, of the WTO's work. They're very no, they're not necessarily vague. It's complicated for your average person to go over it. It's not just any one person is the best at doing so. It's silly to think that. But the bottom line is that they do have protocols, and they do keep things close to their chest, and they do things without everybody's eyes and ears, because they need to. It's part of that process. You can't tell everybody and their brother, say 6-7 billion people on the planet, oh, by the way, Iraq's going to change the value of their currency, and we're going to have 7 billion people filthy rich. It doesn't work that way, and they would never do that. Bottom line is, though, they do give bits and pieces and good quality information. And that's, again, back to where I am today. Article 140. Have they been working on Article 140 for many years? Of course they have. Do they need to have a valuation, a customs valuation? Do they need to have an international calculation for their exchange rate so that they can value all their different products? Think about Iraq, for instance. They don't just have oil. They have all those other things. So the concept of it has been ongoing for many years. The World Bank's been working with Iraq in respect to resettlement. Resettlement is about people. It's about land. It's about money. So think about it for a minute. So all of a sudden, you have all this extra land. I don't know how many tens of thousands of, I call them acres, but they call them dirhams, sorry, but whatever. Everything underneath that land has value. Sulfur, minerals, gold, oil, gas, all that stuff. So when you talk about it in a sense of Article 140, you go like, well, these guys are talking about miles and miles and miles, kilometers and kilometers and kilometers of land that has assets inside it. And so when they did this, it's taken years to define it. The history behind it is far beyond this conversation, but understand, you guys, they have the unbelievable amount of natural resources. And what did they do? They've connected and interconnected the IQD system, for instance, okay? You have the Buna platform. Everything's ready to go. It's digitally, digital. You have the e-government, digital. Everybody's going to payments that are going to be digital. They're specifically, whether you like it or not, I'm just being the messenger. If whether you like it or not, all their payments and settlements are going to be on a digital component. That's all there is to it, whether you like it or not. It's just going to be less cash. So not no cash, just less. And so if you think about it for a moment, if they decide to, and they do what they said they were going to do, Al-Alaq is known and specifically on record saying the project to delete the zeros is going to happen, or it still exists anyway. That's my opinion, right? No, he says that. My opinion is that he's still ongoing with it. But the part about it is that they also talk about having an exchange rate to a previous era. A previous era is not 1310, 1460, 1182. They just didn't go international with that, did they? Why would they do it today at 1310? It just doesn't make any sense. You really need to pay attention and think back and say, do some study and go, wow, there is more to the story. So if you say they didn't do it with oil, they had oil, $3.22, let's call it, $3.22 to $1. They had oil only, right? They didn't have any production anymore. They didn't have any industry anymore. They didn't have any of that. Added all that back in, okay, to the equation. So if you reinstate with the oil, they had oil at 35 bucks, 40 bucks a barrel back then, right? Just that alone, now it's 80 to 85 bucks a barrel today. So, and they've increased their production since then. So even on that standpoint alone, just that one thing, right? Lopping their currency is ludicrous. It makes no sense to anyone that does basic math. All you school teachers, stop, pay attention, and look at it in a perspective that is about delete the 3 zeros from the exchange rate, apply the international valuation from a feasibility studies that they probably have done, and they did probably 20 years ago, that were probably far more advanced than any one of us. Naval Postgraduate School is probably one of those places that some of those people did that, okay? So you think about it. Anyway, enjoy that part of it, because the fact remains is when they put all this pieces of the puzzle together, their whole goal is to be able to support the value of their currency going into the future, and they're watching them do that. Sorry to be long-winded on that one, but I'll be fair. I'm passionate about it because it's real stuff. So here's an article that says Parliamentary Finance hosts Al-Rafadain in the smart card regarding the localization of the salaries of the region's employees. So this has been a big topic. There's some really key points, but I'm only going to go through it really fast. The person that's talking about this, dealing with it, is the Rafadain Bank, Mustafa Al-Karawi, told the agency today that he points out that the bank and the company are awaiting receipt of notifications and data of the employees from the Kurdistan region, and after that they will begin issuing cards settling and dispersing the salaries of the employees of the region. Okay, so if everybody realizes this, that the Kurds have been talking about having employees. So every one employee, there's 3 extra fake, or 2 extra fake employees. And they haven't come clean on that. So if they come clean on that, they admit guilt, right? So it's just going to be a contention. at some point they're going to have to massage it out or come clean. You see that people have been called to the United States for some corruption charges, some things like that. You're seeing some people. One of the articles that I decided not to put into this is specifically talking about that topic. Just not something I want to delve into. The bottom line is that the Kurds have some I don't know, what do you call it? Mud on the face? So anyway, so think about that though for a minute. So if you're skimming off the top and you finally end up getting caught because of the new electronic system, you're going to have some bark back. Look at some of the articles. There's another article I talked about today was talking about Halabusi. What's Halabusi's got? He's got some problems. He does. He's not speaker any longer. He's got some issues. Why? Corruption. All right. So what was that? The crime of the century. What are they doing? They're clawing back money. What are they clawing back? Real estate. Does it have a paper trail? Yeah. It's just intense. But the main thing is that where are we going with this? We're going into a direction where that we've talked about this. I've taken a little bit of blowback because of the fact that a session hasn't happened yet. Well, a session hasn't happened yet. Why? Well, they have rules and regulations at the WTO. But what does Iraq have right now? Right now, Iraq has a session to the trucking, international trucking out of Europe. Right? I think it's called TRIP, T-R-I-P. You can look it up. It's easy. It's just, don't quote me on the acronyms because there's so many acronyms. I can't keep up. But in this particular case, here again, another accession situation. And there was an accession law that was done by Parliament and passed. And so what was that for? Well, the House of Representatives approved the accession law. And who was it for? The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, the EBRD. So what are they going to do? They're going to be the financial arm, a financial arm, separate from the United States, because everybody's kind of panic-stricken about, oh, the United States is doing sanctions on banks and all that kind of stuff. But yet here we are, the European Bank. We already knew they were working on this, but they've come out and said that there's the House of Representatives have approved the accession law. Is that an umbrella law? Is that sort of a blanket law for what? Accession to the WTO? Did they not tell you that they were going to have imminent accession to the WTO? They did, right? Perfect. Why? Because every widget, every little bit and piece of puzzle is going to come right through that border, all of the borders. And they're going to get a little bit of a slice of the pie on that. But it's called fair trade. Having a level playing field. 1310 isn't a level playing field. It's not a level playing field. So you guys have to realize that. It's like, well, you're going to lop off 3 zeros off of everybody's currency notes, and you're going to tell the United States of America that, oh, sorry, we're not going to give you any value anymore. Think about, do you have any idea how big the embassy and the one they're building in Kurdistan region are? How big they are? The United States Embassy in Baghdad is 104 acres large for one building. Google it, how big that is. Even our president of the United States at the time said, you're going to have to pay us for that. You're going to have to take care of that. It's all about the money, you guys. It's all about business. The development road is a business. Is it going to go through Gaza? It's going to go through Gaza. Is it going to go into Europe? Yep, it's going to go through Europe. And what's it going to cost to build it? Can you afford to build it at 1310? I doubt it. Anyway, enough of that. What are they doing? They're opening up the private sector. That's exactly what they're going to do. The private sector is going to be the fuel to what they consider is the development road is the most important project in the world. Their words, not mine. It's in the news. You can find it in Patreon and in Discord. Super Samson, keep up the good work. Unbelievable. And thank you, Gigi. Thank you, Greg, Petra, all the crew members. Pompey Peter, phenomenal audios, by the way. Thank you. People can have that information. They can rely on that information. They can reflect back on that information. So please come in and check it out. I appreciate it. And and if you do come in and check it out, look, I told you, Gigi and Greg will help you guys in. Iraq Fund for External Development announces Iraq's accession to the membership in the European Bank, just like I told you. International financial institutions, it sets the stage for that. And they have completion of all documents related to accession. So why is that big? Well, we all know it. It's a multilateral development bank headquarters in London. Well, what's London have to do with anything? Oh, London has a few dinars, don't they? So does the United States Treasury. So does Canada. So does Australia. So does South Korea. So does Japan. So does China. They all do. Do you think they're all going to just take a bath for no reason? I don't think so. Basically, their emphasis is supporting the private sector and the investments in advisory and political activities, and will continue to develop their policies as time goes on, and they're going to be looking for sufficiency in energy and renewable energy markets. Well, Iraq, of course, they're going to keep doing what they need to do to kind of toes the line. All right, so it's pretty fascinating. Al-Sudani and Rashid stressed the unified efforts to support the government in implementing its program. Iraq's relations with its regional and international environment. That's what they're going to do. They're looking to get everybody in the region and international environment up to speed on their page. It says, he adds that the importance of unifying efforts to support the government in implementing its program and providing the best services to citizens, of course, returning the displaced areas, people to their areas of origin, completing the process of closing the camps, because there were camps from the war effort, permanently within a period specified by the government, and continuing joint work in order to complete constitutional entitlements. What are the constitutional entitlements? Well, that's Article 140 and HCL, if you will, all of those different things, and they are talking about that. So why haven't they paid the salaries? Why haven't they done, well, they say today that they've been pumping oil, which I think is complete hogwash, but they said they did. But the bottom line is, be careful on what you read. But they need to, they haven't paid the salaries. They haven't funded all the budget projects for 2023, 2024 so far. But they're talking that they're getting ready to do so. And why are they focused in on fictitious names in the voter registry? Why are they talking about fictitious names in the payments for salaries? Why are they talking about all that? It's because there's been a massive amount of fraud that's been ongoing, and they told us at the beginning of the year that I think January 1st that they were going to do what? Have commercial trading only in the dinar. And they were also going to have some auditors show up, the 13 or 14 largest auditors in the world, to show up to Iraq to do what? To audit their books. And here we have that back in September. The chairman of the Retirement Authority directs the completion of auditors' transactions as quickly as possible. That was September 5th. Here another one, October 2nd. International finance system prevents Iraq from dealing in anything other than the dollar. So I just mentioned all those things. So ultimately speaking, our good friend Petra, our team member, he happened to bring that up because I made a mention of that today in our forum, which you guys, if come on in and you can find it. It says they seem to forget that the beginning of March 31st, not April 1st, the 13 international audit firms will get all the books and validate income and expenses in all ministries. Exposures of corruption will stand out big time, and the focus on the finance ministry and the Kurds apportioned funding. There you go. That's his opinion. We're going to find out if he's right. I got a strong feeling that we know he is, because the evidence is just it's all over the place. Then there's a lot of stuff that's been going on, and it's going to come to a head. And I'm pumped about it because they can only keep doing what they're doing for so long. and they Al-Sudani is really knocking it dead, man. The guy he's a bulldog. Okay, so parliamentary warnings to the government about consequences of delaying sending the budget schedules. Well, the budget schedules, okay, we're told by Taif Sami to be in the corridors of the Council of Ministers. Here, the parliamentary people, okay, are waiting to get that. They're what they want. They says parliamentary warnings to the government, okay, Council of Ministers, if you will, about the consequences of delaying sending the budget schedules. He expresses, guy from the House of Representatives, the readiness of them, all right, to approve the budget schedule for the current year as soon as they reach the Parliament Finance Committee, noting that the delay in sending the schedules negatively affects the process of dispersing dues. So telling the citizens it's a negative because you're not getting your money. In addition to stopping the investment in operational doors. In other words, so it's going to halt investment, it's going to halt operational doors. Well, it's about time that the Parliament gets on board, because what do they want? They want to expedite sending the schedules. So would you please hurry up so we can have it, so we can pass this, so we can get this done over the shelf? That's what it looks like that article specifically says. Central banks financing small and medium enterprises will be limited to the Riyadh Bank. Okay, what are they going to do? Well, based off the fact that reassuring everybody at the central bank has what? We're able to stabilize the exchange rate of what? The Iraqi dinar, as reserves have reached $111 billion. So they've increased their gold, they've increased their reserves, they've got 15 months worth of reserves, they have all the IQD system put up, the non-oil revenue streams coming through, the tourism, the natural gas, the sulfur, the minerals. Enough. Small and medium enterprises that are the backbone of any economy. We all know that. I think the World Bank knows that. I think the IMF knows that. I think that everybody in the world knows that. That's why the article out today tells you, once again, I think this is more than one, that the development road project that Iraq has is one of the most important in the world. So pay attention to what we have, and rest assured that we're watching this unfold. We don't have a date and rate, but we're watching it unfold. But here, lastly, I'm going to go over is that the advisor to the Prime Minister, he says the initial designs for the development road have reached advanced stages. So all that I just mentioned, circling back, it says the advisor to the Prime Minister for Transport Affairs, Nasir Al-Assadi, announced on Wednesday that the initial designs for the development road project have reached advanced stages, confirming that there is great government interest in this project. He goes on to say that the development road is a vital project, one of the most important projects in the world, as the government has given it great importance, noting that the committee that manages this project is headed by who? Prime Minister Mohammed Shia Al-Sudani. The man's very well liked, and he's doing what he's supposed to do, and he's been knocking it dead since he got into office October 28th, 2022. He goes on to say that the preliminary design for the work development road project has reached these advanced stages, and there will be an international consultant to review the designs and put them in tender, missed that one, and present them to contractors to begin implementation. Fairly sure they have that already started, but that's what they're saying. It says the project has become one of the most important projects in the region because it is the shortest and best and fastest way to transport goods. So we are proceeding with the project. There you have it. There are many countries that have applied for this project, and so they're in the process of working on that economic model so that many more countries can invest. So think of it this way, everybody. All this data that I just gone over with you guys it's real. It's in the news. And is Iraq going to go to the global international stage? I think 100%. That's what they're telling us anyway. Is it not? All right. Anyway, thank you guys for being with me. And I know everybody, if you like my content, we work hard to strive to get you guys some good quality stuff. Hit that like button. Subscribe to my channels. And subscribe to Patreon, our Discord chat room. You're welcome. And if you like this content, don't be shy. A small amount towards PayPal, Zelle, and Venmo do help crew members and everybody keep the content flowing. So thank you so much for being with me tonight. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content, subscribe to the channel, or join us at the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much and have a great day.